right, straight to a Fox News alert. President Trump making a grand entrance as he kicks off the first major overseas trip of his second term in Saudi Arabia.
And he's working to secure big wins on behalf of the American people.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy is live in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia right now with more on the president's historic trip. Good morning to you.
Good morning. And just before we came to air, I was getting a coffee at a kiosk at this conference center, and I asked an American guy who was right next to me, what brought you here to Riyadh? And he said, money. There is so much money at this conference center that is going in both directions. You've got Saudi companies that are investing in the U.S., American companies that are investing in Saudi Arabia. But the most important thing is just these Saudi government investments in the U.S. They are promising $600 billion in U.S. investment over the next couple years. This conference would be a good place to start explaining what exactly that is going to look like. And there's just a lot more to the U.S. and Saudi relationship now than just security guarantees and oil sales. The Crown Prince wants Saudi Arabia to be a major player on the world stage, and they are. So we expect the next couple days to look like this when it comes to investment in the U.S. Saudi Arabia's got the $600 billion pledged over the next 4 years. Qatar has $200 to $300 billion expected to be announced on this trip. Plus, you got the $400 million jumbo jet. And then when we get to the United Arab Emirates, they say $1.4 trillion pledged to the U.S. over the next 10 years. I have traveled the world with President Biden and been to many international conferences with him. They were all political conferences. This is not a political conference. This is a business conference, and it is key to the third pillar of the Trump platform. He's already got DOGE looking at savings. He's got the tariffs looking to level the playing field. And now here, he's got international businessmen and the leaders of Gulf states promising huge checks to the United States and companies there. Back to you.
Hey, Peter, can you give me an idea of like how this is facilitated? For example, a lot of rich people, that's a rich country. Where does the business pitch come? Does Elon Musk stand up and say, invest in Tesla, invest in my boring company? Or, I mean, does Sam Altman get up and said, OpenAI, how does it go? I mean, who goes after who here?
We don't know specifically what is going to be announced, but the way that it's going to work, and we expect to hear from Elon Musk later on, he will come here to a mixed crowd of American rich guys and Saudi rich guys who are all seated because the program is supposed to start any minute, and they will talk about opportunities here in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And the focus is heavy on artificial intelligence and energy, but then they will also be pitching Saudi investments in the U.S. So it is going both ways, but everywhere that you go, they've got this these exhibits set up where it shows the Saudi vision for 2030, and they've got like a vertical city where an entire civilization, basically, that they've already started building would be occupying only less than 40 square kilometers, and because the whole town is just stacked up on top of each other. They are trying a lot of very futuristic things here in Saudi Arabia. They have the money here to do that, and a lot of companies want to invest money in Saudi Arabia with the promise that they could be part of this vision of the future that they have. Will it work out by 2030? Who knows? But the people in this room that President Trump is going to come to in a couple hours and address, they have the kind of unlimited funds to make it happen.
Peter, what does the schedule look like for the week? Because I know this is a 3-nation tour. He's also going to Qatar and to UAE. What's the schedule? Today's Tuesday. They come home Friday.
Yeah, so today and tomorrow he'll be here in Saudi Arabia. Then it is on to Doha, where we expect a bunch of announcements. And then on the last stop is going to be in Abu Dhabi, Thursday, part of Friday. And we thought that there might be some big political or geopolitical diplomatic announcements with regard to the Ukraine war, with regard to maybe a ceasefire in Israel, in Gaza rather, with Israel and Hamas. A lot of that stuff is getting buried by just these huge business deals that we expect to be announced today. So the way that the itinerary has been laid out over the next couple days, the White House wants the focus to be on big business deals as opposed to diplomatic deals that they know could fall apart at any moment, because we've seen how fragile the peace can be in Gaza and in Ukraine. And
but
so
Peter,
I know President Trump said that he might dip into Turkey to sit in with Putin and Zelensky if that meeting happens on Thursday there. We haven't seen a change to the schedule to suggest that is going to happen.
Is there room in the schedule? Say they, because they have these other folks, the other advisors that are there before Putin and Zelensky get there, and there may be a deal that happens. If that deal happens, then the likelihood of the president showing up is very high. Is there room in the schedule, through the magic of Air Force One, to attend a meeting like that in the schedule?
I would say there's always room in the schedule when you have a president who sleeps as little as
there you go.
Donald Trump does. And so we've seen like a for planning only schedule. They build in a couple hours for him to be at a hotel. If something like a Trump, Putin, Zelensky meeting was going to happen in Turkey, which is a short flight relative to coming from the U.S., from here, it would probably be something where for security reasons, it would happen under the cover of darkness. We might not even know about it until after it happens. They might just do it like they do these trips that the presidents over the last couple of years, Trump did it to Afghanistan a couple of years ago. It's so dangerous, they just dip in and dip out, and then they tell us that it happened. So
Peter, it's very...
I don't know that, but if it happened, there's always room.
Peter, the other thing is, let's be honest, nothing happens unless you sign off on it.
Right.
So unless you sign off on it, it's not going to happen. So I appreciate your humility, but we all know you.
Yes,
really...
once the president gets here, I'm going to tell him I will be telling him which deals I think are okay.
If you don't mind.
$400 billion is okay.
And then you would tell us.
250, maybe we skip that one.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We'll hold out. Yeah.
All right, Peter. Thanks so much.
Peter.
So Peter got a sense of what's happening on the ground. So did Brett last night. I thought this was a really cool tour he gave. So this is Brett just walking around a city that I thought looked like Las Vegas. Watch.
Welcome to Boulevard City. This is an entertainment hub in Riyadh. It has basically everything. It has restaurants, cafes, it has sports experiences, go-karts, snooker academy, a WWE spot, there's a McDonald's, there's a Randy's Donuts, even a Shake Shack. A lot of theatrical events, cultural events here, gardens, dancing fountains, there's even a mini New York Times Square. Believe it or not, this massive place took 118 days to build. At its most, they had 40,000 construction workers working the same time on this place. There's 280 different restaurants and experiences here. It's something to see downtown Riyadh.
I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Took no time to build. 40,000 construction workers. Did they build that in advance of this trip because they wanted to impress Americans?
No, I don't think that they did before the election started. I mean, they were just, this has been a part of the planning. This is a sprawling country that had no interest in doing this in 2000.
Yeah.
Because you think desert. You don't think that. That looks more like Times Square in
they're
Vegas.
evolving. Even I was looking at some of the women. He is. I was looking at some of the women, too, that did not have to have the head garments as well, that confronted the president and shook his hand and also shook the hand of the prince as well. It was a beautiful sight.
Well, and also they landed about 2:30 when we were all waking up, and there were 6 fighter jets, Saudi fighter jets, F-15s, that were cruising in close proximity to Air Force One. Sean Hannity was on the plane and was sending me pictures of it.
Did you share them with our control room?
I did. I think we have some pictures. Also, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Dan Scavino, was on the plane, and he was tweeting out footage, and he wrote on X, "Thank you for the escort and having President Trump's back. We all appreciate it. See you on the ground shortly. Thank you."
How cool is that? And look down, you see the desert.
Yeah, and Sean did send one picture to me where you can see the pilots. Look at that. They were looking into the Air Force One. But it did make me feel a little better knowing that they were protected and that Air Force One is outfitted. And also they had to take alternate routes because they don't want the enemy to ever know where our president is in the sky.
Right. I mean, the Houthi rebels said they're going to stop shooting at our ships. I hope we specified planes,
too. Talk about air.
Yeah.
There were 3 of these F-15s on each side of the plane. It lasted for about 30 minutes as soon as they got into the Saudi airspace.
All right. That's so cool, Ainsley. You have great sources. Good job.
The reason he's on the plane is he got an exclusive interview for about 45 minutes, and that will air tonight on Sean's show. And hopefully Sean will join us at some point this morning on our show to tell us what's going on over there.
Greg, a lot of people don't know this about you, but you require your rides to be flanked by white Arabian horses when you arrive here.
Yes, I was a little worried about that because he also has the mobile McDonald's.
Yes.
So it makes you wonder what meat they're using. They never rolled out the red carpet for Joe Biden because they were worried about the cleaning bill. But, you know, it's interesting. So he has this mobile McDonald's following him. It's just like a regular McDonald's, except the Hamburglar is missing a hand for stealing.
Oh,
yeah.
They do that there.
They do that there. I think you're right. You know, this is a great week. It's only Tuesday because it says a lot about the mindset. With Trump, it feels like almost anything is possible because he's a doer. He's not a talker. He's a man of action. He's got aspirational designs for the country. He wants to be the greatest president ever. And that directly benefits us. Even if it's for his own ego, it doesn't matter. They align properly with our needs. He's America's lawyer, America's agent. He's in the room on our behalf. Doesn't seem like an existential risk to me, Marie, but maybe you see it differently. And he doesn't care what the world thinks. That's a liberal thing. Successful people do not care what other people think, or else they'd never be successful. And if you compare this again to the previous administration, that was lip service. This is real service. You know, anything is possible with Trump. The Democrats never thought anything was possible, and I think I realized why. To them, winning the election is the job. For Trump, the job comes after the election. And I think that's when we're talking about Biden, they didn't care that he was barely alive because he already won.
Proximity. The F-15S stayed in close proximity to Air Force One during the entire flight. Escort. The president was escorted by fighter jets as a precaution. Outfitted. Air Force One is fully outfitted with defense systems and communication gear. Aspirational. Trump's aspirational vision for the country makes people believe anything is possible. Likelihood. The likelihood of an attack was low, but they still took alternate flight routes. Sprawling. From the plane window, you could see the sprawling lights of the city below. Evolving. America's role on the world stage is evolving under Trump's leadership. Futuristic. The inside of Air Force One looked almost futuristic, with high-tech controls everywhere. Pillar. Trump sees strength as the pillar of American foreign policy. Kiosk. They set up a cozy coffee kiosk outside the venue to serve attendees. Pledge. The company pledged $1 million to support local small businesses.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.